This is the Autodromo Dino Ferrari at Imola, near Bologna, where the third round of the 1985 World Championship is being run, the San Marino Grand Prix, called after the little principality nearby, and one of two Grand Prix which will take place in Italy this year. 26 cars on the grid, and once again it's Ayrton Senna in the Lotus who's taken pole position, although the enormous Italian crowd are willing a Ferrari to win. There's Ayrton Senna's Lotus, second pole position on the trot, and he's come here full of confidence 2 weeks after his great Portugal win. Keke Rosberg in the Williams and Elio De Angelis and the Ferrari of Michele Alboreto are next on the grid. A surprising fifth on the grid is Thierry Boutsen, the Belgian driver, in the Arrows. Sixth is Alain Prost in the McLaren. On the fourth row, in seventh position, Nigel Mansell with the second Williams, and in eighth position, Niki Lauda, the world champion, with McLaren number 1. Then it's Nelson Piquet's Brabham, Gerhard Berger's Arrows. At the start, Senna makes the best start and is followed through by his teammate Elio De Angelis, so it's Lotus first and second. Michele Alboreto is third with the Ferrari, and Alain Prost moves up into fourth place with the McLaren. So it's Lotus, Ferrari, McLaren, with Keke Rosberg and Nigel Mansell in the two Williamses next up. Senna establishes himself in the lead, with Elio De Angelis following, and it looks like a repeat of the Lotus form that we saw 2 weeks ago in Portugal. Michele Alboreto keeps the Italian crowd excited by hanging on to third place in the Ferrari, but Alain Prost looks threatening in fourth place. Still the two Williamses fifth and sixth, but Niki Lauda is now seventh, ahead of Eddie Cheever in the Alfa Romeo. This is the tight Acqua Minerale chicane. On the downhill section, towards the Rivazza corner, the two Lotuses pull away. And Alboreto in third place is still threatened by Alain Prost's McLaren. Into the Rivazza corner for the first time. And onto the start-finish straight, the two Lotuses are still there at the front. Ayrton Senna leading Elio De Angelis, the Brazilian leading the Italian, with Michele Alboreto third, Alain Prost fourth, Keke Rosberg fifth, Nigel Mansell sixth, and Niki Lauda seventh. Senna starts to pull away from his teammate De Angelis. Alboreto still holds third from Prost and Rosberg. And further down the field, Nelson Piquet is starting to move up in his Brabham. De Angelis closes up on Senna once more, and still Alboreto is holding off Prost. But Niki Lauda is starting to press Nigel Mansell for sixth place, and Nelson Piquet is right behind them. Into the pits comes Riccardo Patrese, the Italian, with his Alfa Romeo, and François Hinault, the Frenchman, in the second Brabham, spins. Out in front, it's still Senna, with 10 laps completed, but Alboreto goes past the Lotus, which is starting to lose power from turbocharger problems. So now a Ferrari is second, to the delight of the crowd. Alain Prost is still fourth in the McLaren. Senna leads, Alboreto second, De Angelis third, Alain Prost fourth. And the Ferrari starts to close on Senna, while Alain Prost overtakes Elio De Angelis to take third place. So now it's Lotus first, Ferrari second, McLaren third. Nelson Piquet comes into the pits for a change of tyres. The soft compound tyres that he started the race on have worn out too quickly. The Brabham mechanics change the tyres quickly and he rejoins the race. The second Ferrari, driven by the Swedish driver Stefan Johansson, has moved up from 15th at the start to 6th place, and the crowd are cheering him on too. But into the barriers and out of the race goes another Italian, that's Andrea De Cesaris, in one of the French Ligiers. But Alboretto's Ferrari is in trouble with a misfire, and Alain Prost closes in for the kill to take second place. So now it's Lotus first, McLaren second. And the Ferrari's misfire persists, and soon he's going to lose third place also. Jacques Lafitte's car catches fire with a blown turbocharger, but he climbs calmly out and takes the fire extinguisher from the marshal. There is the leader, Ayrton Senna, at the Aqua Minerale chicane. And there is Alain Prost now closing in second place, with Niki Lauda up to third, because the Ferrari of Alboretto has slipped back further. So now it's Lotus first, McLaren second, McLaren third, as Alboretto brings the Ferrari into the pits. Now Stefan Johansson has caught up with Elio De Angelis, but there are a couple of back markers, Piquet and Boutsen, together. Stefan Johansson forces the Ferrari round the outside of De Angelis. De Angelis fights back, the two cars almost collide, but the Ferrari has got ahead of the Black Lotus. So now it's Stefan Johansson up into third place. Niki Lauda has dropped further back with gearbox trouble. Stefan Johansson's tremendous progress up the field continues, and he catches up Alain Prost, who's now second, and overtakes him. Ahead of them, about to be lapped, is Nelson Piquet. So now it's Stefan Johansson in second place, Ayrton Senna still leading in the Lotus, and Alain Prost pushed down to third. Elio De Angelis is fourth, Niki Lauda is fifth at this stage. Ayrton Senna has just lapped Nigel Mansell's Williams, but he knows from his pit signals that Stefan Johansson is getting closer, and now his fuel is running low. The Lotus falters and slows right down. Stefan Johansson is there at once, and Ferrari number 28 is poised to take the lead, to the joy of the crowd here at the Ferrari Autodromo. So it's a Ferrari leading, and Stefan Johansson goes away while Ayrton Senna's Lotus slows to a halt. But Stefan Johansson's joy is short-lived. Half a lap later, his car too slows. But in his case, he's not out of petrol. It's an electrical fault. The cheers of the crowd change to groans as Johansson slows down and Alain Prost flashes by to take the lead in the McLaren. So Alain Prost reels off the final laps. Once again, he's going to be a winner. Or is he? Nelson Piquet loses a certain third place when his Brabham runs out of petrol. So Alain Prost comes home to take the checkered flag in the McLaren and apparently to score another win. But the drama isn't over yet. Elio De Angelis takes a distant second place in the Lotus number 11, and Thierry Boutsen's Arrows, as Stefan Johansson walks home from his stricken Ferrari, Thierry Boutsen's Arrows runs out of petrol with its front wheels just over the line. But as Alain Prost takes the cup in post-race scrutineering, his McLaren is found to be 2 kilograms under the official minimum weight limit, and Alain Prost and his McLaren have to be disqualified. Elio De Angelis gets the race in his Lotus, Thierry Boutsen's Arrows is second, from Patrick Tambay's Renault, Niki Lauda's McLaren, Nigel Mansell's Williams, and Stefan Johansson gets 1 point for sixth. Elio De Angelis is the new leader of the World Championship by 4 points from Michele Alboreto. And in the Constructors' Championship, Lotus Renault now have a 9-point lead over Ferrari.